Hi everyone, welcome back to another Fairman Planes video. Today we're looking at a British Airways Boeing 777-300 and it's the ER variant or the extended range variant of the 777. So this model is one by Hogan Wings. It's a plasticky resin model, so we're not expecting all the details to be on here because it wasn't that expensive. The scale is 1 to 200. I have actually reviewed a 1 to 100 scale model of this plane. That was a very massive model. I'll put a link to that video review in the description. But this one is 1 to 200 scale, so you can see my hand for like a comparison of the size. It's not too big, but it's fairly good size. And yeah, I guess we can start the review. So let's start with the nose section of the plane. So there we go. And if I zoom in, there we go. So straight off, we can see some of the important details. We can see the cockpit windows there, along with the TBH short registration of the plane, along with some windscreen wipers to wipe the rain and stuff off the cockpit windows. If we turn our attention to the side of the aircraft, we can see the more impressive details of the British Airways livery. First, before I forget, we can see the registration on the nose landing gear door bay there. But I think one of the most impressive features is this British Airways ribbon that we can see at the front, along with the British Airways text printed boldly and proudly on the fuselage there. We can see the first class boarding door there. We've got the all the markings on the door, which is really impressive. We've also got the One World Airline Alliance logo there in blue. You can't quite tell, or you can't quite see that it says One World, but I think there's enough detail there to sort of tell that it's the One World Alliance logo, which I think is a good detail to have. If we move a little bit down, we can see some of the windows, and they've blocked off some for their, I guess that's for their first class seating configuration. And then moving along a little bit, we can see the second passenger door that they use. So we've got the One World Airline Alliance logo there again, along with all the markings. So I think these windows that we can see here, these are mostly business class. I think British Airways have a relatively high proportion of first class and business class seats. So if you're in economy class, you board in this using this door, and then you have to walk past all the business class seats and then become really jealous. We can also see the To Fly to Serve coat of arms or insignia that they have, which is having a nice elegant detail to have on the planes. So I'm glad that's on there. Moving along, so if we just take a quick look at the wing, we can see the headlight there that the pilots use to see out the front sometimes. We'll take a closer look at the wing in more detail a little bit later, but we can focus on the emergency escape markings they've got on the wing. So when passengers evacuate out of the center door on the left and on the right, they can see the arrows to show them where they need to go. And I think that's a good detail to have on these models because it makes it slightly more realistic. So I'm glad that this has been featured on the model. And on the wing, we can see the flaps and some of the other markings, but we will take a closer look at that a bit later on. Now, looking down the fuselage, we can also see the rest of the doors and the rear economy class cabin. We can also see Royal Mail, the logo printed on the bottom there. Royal Mail is one of the delivery companies we've got in the UK. I think it used to be a national, sort of nationalised business, but I don't know if that's the case anymore. Perhaps Royal Mail have some agreement with British Airways to move their stuff around, and maybe that's why it's there, but still a nice detail on the model. And And then towards the back of the plane, we've got the full registration, that is GSTBH, and we've also got, you might be able to see this, but we've also got the Boeing 777 text at the bottom there. I think the focus is slightly off, but there we go, that should be a bit better. We've got Boeing 777 at the bottom there. So now if we move our attention to the vertical stabilizer and the horizontal stabilizers, we can see the beautiful Union flag printed on the vertical stabilizer. That's really nice. We can also see the short letters BH for the registration printed at the top of the wing, the tail, sorry. And we can see the markings on the the horizontal stabilizers. And then at the very back, we can see some attempt at printing the APU. I don't think it's that good, but again, this model was not very expensive. It's not a die-cast model, so I'm not expecting this model to sport all the details that a plane might have, as would better models feature. Okay, so now if we move to the other side of the plane, we can take a closer look. So the tail and the horizontal stabilizers, they're pretty much the same. Again, they look very nice. Moving back into the economy cabin, it's pretty much the same. There's no Royal Mail logo there, but I think it's only meant to be on one side, so that's okay. We can also see one of the cargo doors here as well, which we'll get a closer look at later on as well. So moving back up the aircraft, we can see we've got the emergency escape markings on the wing. Like I said, on the other side, it's a really nice feature to have. We've also got two little spots on the top of the fuselage there. I think that's a nice feature. I don't really know what it is, but they must have some important function. I don't quite think it's a Wi-Fi dome, as I have seen some other aircrafts have on top of them, because I think that they usually look a little bit bigger. So I don't think they're Wi-Fi domes, but maybe someone in the comments will know what these little black spots are for. But anyway, moving on, so we go back to the front of the aircraft, we can see the lovely British Airways logo. We've got the "To Fly to Serve" insignia there again. We've got the British Airways text and the ribbon. So I think they're all excellent details to have on the model, so it's really nice to see that. Okay, so I think what we'll look at next is the engines, actually, because one cool feature of this airplane, and a lot of these models that I get from Hogan, is that if I zoom in here, you should be able to get a good look at this, but with the engines, if I poke the engines around, what you will see is, if I gently poke them, the engine blades, the turbines, they spin, which is really nice. Obviously, they didn't have to implement this as a feature, but I think it's pretty cool that we can do this on these models. We've also got the lovely little spiral there on the cone to show, so it's easy for people to see if the engine's spinning or if it's not. Similarly, the other engine also is pretty much the same. So if I just spin this, you can see that, it moves around as it's supposed to. Okay, so now I think we'll take a closer look at the wings, as we said earlier. So you can see quite a few details on the wings. Now, let me try and zoom in as far as I can, because I think that they've done a quite impressive job with some of the detail here. So I believe the text on the wings says "no step." So you've got one there, 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 and there. And this is very, very small, intricate detail. I don't think you can quite read that it says "no step." but I think there is enough detail in the shape of the letters to tell that it says no step. But either way, it's a very nice detail to have. Very, very realistic. So if I zoom out and we can move along the rest of the plane. So we can see some of the other details. We've got the flaps engraved onto the wing. We've got the other line markings. We've got a nice little shiny color at the front for the slats at the leading edge of the wing. And then at the very end, we've got, now, let's see if the focus will work. There we go. So we've got the little red dot there for, to show that this is the left side of the airplane, so that in the dark, other pilots can tell which way the plane's going. But okay, so let's actually have a look at the other side now. So here, you can also see that, okay, let me try and adjust the focus. There we go. Oh, I think the focus is gone. Let me try that again. Is that going to stay? No, it's not. Well, either way, I think you can still see it, but we've got the green light there to show that it's the right side. Let me try to focus one more time. Now, will it stay? No, it won't. Okay, well, that's Pixel 6 cameras for you. I do apologize about the focus. There's not much I can do about that, but I think you get the idea anyway. We're able to see this wingtip fairly well. Let's take a closer look at the engines now. We saw them spinning, but let's have a look at the view from the side. So here we can see one of the engines, and we've got the General Electric logo there, which is a nice little detail. And then again, in real life, I think they have more markings on the engines, but sadly, this model being quite a cheap one, we don't have all the details being sported on the side of the engine here. But nonetheless, still not too bad. And then we can clearly see how the engine is attached to the wing over here. Okay, so I think now we've looked at enough of the plane, so let's look at the underside of it now. So if I just take it off its stand, I'm going to also zoom out on the camera as well. You can see all my other little planes under my table. So one detail that we notice is that the wing, one of the wings has the registration under the wing, which is nice. It is upside down for you guys, but you get the idea. We've also got the air bleed intake there as well. I think that's what they are. I think it's for the air to go into the aircraft that bleeds in. If I'm wrong, someone in the comments can correct me. So we've got two of them there, one on each side. And then we've got a cargo door there, and we can see the other cargo doors at the back there as well. So there isn't much detail on the underside, but again, cheap model, so that's kind of expected. I think they've still done an alright job at this. So actually, now we can show the model what it looks like when it's on the ground. So one cool thing about this model is that you can roll it gently backwards and forwards like this. It doesn't go sideways, which is kind of obvious, but you can gently roll it forwards and backwards. I wouldn't recommend playing about this with it too much because there is a little bit of resistance and you don't want to damage it. But you can gently move it backwards and forwards. If you need to adjust the position, you can just gently roll it rather than picking it up all the time. And I definitely would not recommend giving this to a 5-year-old to roll down a slide at a playground or anything. But nonetheless, still a cool little feature that the landing gears are not fixed and actually move about. Okay, so I'm going to put that back on the stand. Okay, so I think that's actually it for the model review. So hope you guys enjoyed this model review. I certainly did. I often enjoy just talking about my airplanes. So yeah, this model I've had for a number of years now, and it's been one of my favourites. The Boeing 777 is, I think, a very elegant aircraft, and it's always been one of my favourite types. So I'm glad to have this as a model. I think, yeah, that pretty much concludes the model review. So I hope that you all enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and hope you all have a brilliant day.